how all of this obstruction is going to play out come 2018.
You know what? The talk among politicians and lawmakers, it always turns to who's going to win in the next election, right? That's immediately where the discussion went. How about the fact that this has been hugely burdensome to this economy and American businesses and people since it was passed in 2010 or 2009? Let's talk about what this repeal will do. It will alleviate the employer mandate. It will free up smaller businesses to actually go out there and hire and operate without all these regulations from the government. Younger people potentially will be able to buy much cheaper insurance if the states waive those requirements for health care coverage. Medical device companies, that tax is repealed.
The 3.8% tax.
There have been 29,000 jobs lost in a 3-year period just in that industry alone. I know a lot of Democrats have come on your program and argued that this didn't hurt the economy, and that's just hogwash.
No, it's hogwash, of course it is. And with something that is literally 18% of the economy, you have to expect that it's going to impact the economy one way or another.
Absolutely.
We're talking about 18% of the economy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look at it, too, like from the employer side. You know, the Affordable Care Act had such an impact for employers on their ability to hire and the cost and the burden that they had to take on. We saw them change.
Were limiting their employees to 49 because, hey, we don't want to leave 49ers.
The 49ers. They wouldn't hire anybody more than 49 employees.
It really held the economy back, I think. And so it is a shame that when, for us to see that the House is passing this and that this is the way the Democrats, you know, are acting. I think with Dagen's point, it is kind of childish. And to me, you look at that and you go, oh, gosh, that's embarrassing, right?
Which
that
is
our
why
country
I think it hurts them in 2018.
Yeah.
They think it's going to help them in 2018.
I'll turn it back on them. They are behaving like spoiled little brats. We're talking about people's health care. They act like they care about the health of the American people. Then you don't act like that. Then you try and fix what's wrong with Obamacare. Because if they look at that, if I have, you know what, I'm just thankful I don't have to listen to Nancy Pelosi wag her finger at us and go, affordable. Affordable.
You know, it's almost like they're ignoring what the voters said back in November by just blowing everybody off by saying we're just going to obstruct everything. And we know it's a lie because we just saw what happened with Gorsuch. And we know that, you know, a couple of years ago they were all in on Gorsuch, but just to obstruct the agenda, they pushed back on Gorsuch. And by the way, taking the pre-existing conditions, putting it more on the states, you're taking the sick people out of the pool to make that pool broader for young people, as you say. That will, in fact, lower costs. That's the goal, lower premiums.
Rather than hiding the cost for covering those with pre-existing conditions within everybody's health insurance premiums, you will have taxpayers helping foot the bill at the state level if the states choose to waive those restrictions. It's going to be a bone of contention.
Yeah, and they're not saying that we're not going to cover pre-existing conditions. I believe it's 63 days that you have to choose not to be insured over the past 12 months that have to lapse in order to not be covered. So that's, you chose not to pay for coverage, not to buy coverage. We're not saying we're not going to cover you for some terminal illness that you've had and maintained and continue coverage. I think that's an important distinction.
And the House Financial Services Committee voted to approve a bill that would roll back significant parts of Dodd-Frank as well. A vote is expected in the full House in the coming weeks. President Trump had to pledge to, quote, do a big number on Dodd-Frank. Is this the right direction? Obviously, the regulatory part of this, Joanie Courtney, has also been a pressure for businesses. So rolling back Dodd-Frank is helpful?
Well, you know, I think that what we are going to see is that if we can get some of these things done, I think the regulations are going to be very helpful to businesses because it will, they're all waiting right now. And we saw that. There was a lot of optimism at the beginning of the year around tax reform and health care reform. And then all of a sudden, we definitely saw a change that employers started to kind of hold back from making those hires. And the reason was they were waiting to see what's really going to happen. Are we going to get tax reform? Are we going to get health care reform? What's going to happen with Dodd-Frank? So if these changes are going to go through, I think this could be very very good for the economy. It could be good for hiring, good for jobs.
It's also positive for the banks if Dodd-Frank is repealed or replaced.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be very positive, Maria.
All right, financial services, obviously the group to watch there. Keep it